You ever get the feeling that a house is watching you? That every creak, every draft, every shifting shadow isn't just the building settling, but something else waiting for you to notice it? That's exactly how it felt in the winter of 2022, when I moved into my grandparents' old farmhouse in Ashford, Ohio. Before I dive in, I'd like to ask a small favor. If you enjoy chilling stories that linger long after the lights go out, please subscribe and tap the bell icon. Your support helps us bring you even darker tales. Now, let's begin. The farmhouse had been in my family for decades. My grandparents passed away years earlier, and since then the place had just sat there. Too sentimental to sell, but too far gone for anyone to actually want to live in. Except me. I was between apartments at the time, and the offer of free rent, even in a crumbling old house on the edge of town, was too good to pass up. So, in October of 2022, I packed my things and moved in. It was colder than I remembered. The walls groaned when the wind hit them, and the upstairs always seemed a little darker than it should have been, even with the lights on. But it was mine for the time being, and I told myself I could deal with it. 2 months went by quietly. I worked, came home, made dinner, watched TV, and tried not to think too much about the endless empty rooms upstairs. But everything changed on a Tuesday night in December. I had just pulled into the driveway after work, the sun already gone behind the trees, when Mrs. Carter, the elderly woman who lived 3 houses down, waved me over. "I thought you said you were the only one staying here," she said, her voice low, almost apologetic. "Yeah," I told her. "Why?" She looked back at the house. "Because earlier today I saw someone moving past the upstairs window. But your car wasn't here. I figured you were at work." I tried to laugh it off. Old houses creak, shadows shift, curtains flutter. People see what they want to see. I thanked her for letting me know and went inside. Still, her words clung to me. As soon as I stepped through the front door, I checked every room on the first floor. Nothing. No open windows, no footprints on the dusty floorboards. The house was silent, still like always. By the time I made dinner and turned on the TV, the unease had faded. Maybe she'd been mistaken. Maybe she saw her reflection in the glass. But later that night, past 1 a.m., I shut off the television and headed upstairs, and that's when the unease returned. The upstairs hallway was pitch black, except for the light spilling from my bedroom. My room had 2 sections, a small bedroom with the bed, and then a narrow side hallway that led to a closet and a built-in vanity desk. At the very end was a large bathroom lined with mirrors. I hated those mirrors. They always seemed to reflect too much. I used the bathroom, turned off the lights, and came back into the bedroom. That's when I froze. A light was still on. Not in the bathroom, not in the bedroom. No. It was the little bulb in the vanity hallway. Now, this might not sound terrifying, but you need to understand something. That bulb was one of those ancient ceiling fixtures with a pull string. I had never once used it, and the only way to turn it on was to pull. Art. It wasn't the kind of thing that could just happen. My chest tightened. Slowly, I walked to the hallway and pulled the string, shutting it off. The glass around the bulb glowed faint blue for a second before dying out, leaving me in near darkness. I told myself it was a fluke. Old wiring. Static discharge. Something. But deep down, my gut knew better. I should have left right then. But instead, I locked my bedroom door, turned on the lamp, and sat in bed scrolling through my phone, pretending everything was fine. But my eyes kept drifting to that closed door. Listening. Waiting. Half an hour later, I couldn't take it. I needed to prove to myself the house was empty. I opened the door and stepped into the upstairs hallway. The air felt heavier, colder. I checked the guest room across from mine. The door creaked as I pushed it open. Inside, dust-coated furniture sat where my grandparents had left it. A stack of boxes lined the far wall. And on the bed, Something was under the covers. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks. But no, the blankets were definitely raised, a clear shape beneath them. My heart pounded in my ears. I took one step back. The floor groaned beneath me, and that's when it sat up. The figure shot upright, blankets falling away. A man. Pale face, hollow eyes, hair matted as if he hadn't bathed in weeks. His head snapped toward me, locking eyes like he had been waiting. I didn't move. For 1 second we just stared. Then I bolted. I tore down the stairs, my footsteps echoing through the old house. Behind me I heard him moving, fast. Heavy footsteps chasing me down the hall. I didn't stop. I ran out the front door, across the yard, and straight to Mrs. Carter's house. She let me in without a word and called the police. By the time officers searched the farmhouse, the man was gone. No broken locks, no stolen valuables, nothing to even prove he had been there at all. But I know what I saw. Over the next week, my parents and I went back to clear out my things. And that's when the real horror set in. Because tucked inside the attic crawl space, we found blankets, empty food wrappers, a flashlight, even bottles of water. He hadn't just been squatting in the house. He had been living there, with me, the whole time. Which means every night I cooked dinner, every time I showered, every time I fell asleep, he might have been just a few feet away watching. I moved out immediately. I've never been back since. But sometimes late at night, when the house I live in now creaks, I catch myself staring at the ceiling, wondering if someone is still up there, lying in wait. And I have to ask you, what would you have done if you found someone had been living in your home all along?